Oh, I love it. I love this. I roast it. I don't know. That's the glitch animation is really nice. I love it. This is amazing.
Let the battle begin!
Alright, so today we're exploring OpenCode and we're putting a few free AI models head to head to see which one builds me the best site. First, let's set everything up. I'll create a fresh folder on the desktop, call it OpenCode test, because the whole idea here is to compare 3 different models side by side, each one building the exact same thing. So let me make the directory, move into it, and from here I'll run 3 separate instances of OpenCode, one dedicated to each model I want to compare. So first, let's fire up OpenCode. One session here, another one here, and a third one here as well. 3 sessions, one model each, all running at the same time. Now, for judgment clarity, I don't want any of the models getting the benefit of extra context or additional information. They should all start from exactly the same place. So before I touch any model, let's first create one single prompt, and every model is going to receive that identical prompt, word for word. Here's what I want built: a portfolio site for myself. I'm a software engineer, and on the internet I go by the name Erluxman. So I'm going to ask the model to actually go out and find details about me from the internet, my work, my profiles, whatever is publicly out there, and then take all of that information and use it to paste together a static website. I want it to do the research itself, not just make things up and then turn that research into the page. And at this point, I just want one single flat HTML file. Now I know building a whole site in one HTML file is genuinely bad practice. But since we're comparing all of these models against each other, keeping everything in a single file makes them far easier to judge. And you can always come back later and refactor whichever one you end up liking the best. Now the major focus for the site is the vibe. It has to feel like a developer built this. It should not look flat, and it absolutely should not look like one of those generic AI-slop sites you see everywhere. So I wanted to do real research about me, use that to inform the content, and then present it with strong visuals, dark, modern, with a bit of personality. Basically, when someone lands on this page, they should immediately get the sense that a real engineer is behind it. Not a template, not a quick AI dump. Now, instead of writing this whole prompt out by hand, I'm going to take advantage of AI for this part too. I'll have an LLM write the prompt for me, a really well-structured one, and I'll explicitly tell it to ask me anything it needs to know before it starts building. That way, the prompt that finally goes to the models is as clear and complete as it can be. Alright, the prompt is ready, so let's go. All 4 OpenCode stations are now up and running at the same time.
I have comprehensive picture of here Lakshman Bhattacharya. Yeah, that's it. Found me, right? It found my work.
For the visual direction, I'm asking for a dark theme with neon accents, a clean dark mode first vibe. Now, I did think about just telling it surprise me, but that would be a non-deterministic prompt. 2 different models would run off into completely different directions, and then I'd have no fair way to compare them. So instead, I'm being specific about the look so that the comparison stays apples to apples. So I'll tell it, craft the best site you can with all the information you're able to gather about me. And honestly, the personal write-up it pulled together already looks pretty impressive. It clearly went and did some real digging rather than just inventing a generic bio. I also want a clear call to action to hire me, because that's really the entire point of a portfolio, right? So let's go with a hire me CTA. That's exactly what we need this time around. Alright, let's confirm everything. And I'm hoping it hands me back a really solid prompt. Okay, let's start picking the actual models. Right now, Big Pickle is the one that's selected, and Big Pickle is one of our main contenders, partly because I'm pretty sure OpenCode uses it under the hood by default. So that's model number 1 locked in. I'll scroll down, paste in the prompt. Build a website for me based on the following information, and then just let it go and start working. Now, I do have Ollama running locally with some models, but I don't have a RAG setup or any retrieval system wired in to fetch my data from the internet automatically. So the model can't just go grab everything on its own, which again is exactly why this prompt is doing so much of the heavy lifting. Next up, the other models. A lot of these are the popular Chinese models. For some reason, Ollama is only listing a few of them here, so these are the 3 I'm going to work with. DeepSeek is one of the big ones, and it's going to be a serious contender. I want to get each of these set up in its own directory, so their outputs stay completely separate, and I can compare them cleanly, without one model's work bleeding into another's. So inside a directory called site DeepSeek, I tell DeepSeek, get a website built for me based on the following information, and off it goes. And for the third slot, you know what? Let's go with Nemotron. So inside a directory called site Nemotron, I give it the exact same instruction. Create a site for me based on the following information. Now, all 3 of them have the identical brief. Now here's the first tell with Big Pickle. It did not ask me anything at all. And for me, that's a bit of a red flag. For a brief with this much room to interpret, I'd expect at least a clarifying question. It's as if it just assumed it understood everything from the requirement and ran with it. And on top of that, it didn't follow one of the commands I explicitly gave it. Big Pickle kind of got too smart here. It decided, on its own, not to follow what I had asked it to do. Comparing the two side by side? Okay, nice. Actually, I think it was DeepSeek that didn't follow my command, not Big Pickle. That was the very first thing that jumped out at me when I lined them up together.
Oh, I forgot to tell it directory here. Maybe that's why. Directory, okay?
Now let's go and check Big Pickle. Big Pickle was actually already done first. And remember, I'd specifically asked the AI not to give me a huge wall of explanation. So here's the thing. Since all of them are outputting just one HTML file, our judgment criteria can't really be about architecture. Architecture-wise, they're all in the same boat. It's a single file. There's not much to separate them structurally. So the thing we actually have to judge is the output itself. The page that comes out the other end, how it looks, how it feels, whether the content is right. That becomes the real basis for the comparison. Nice? And it actually slowed down to get there. It even pulled in my Stack Overflow profile. Alright, points for effort.
Now, first sale, I think because I got a different site. But yeah, like it has a pretty good information about me. Yeah. Yeah, that is good. That is good. Not sure if it's true, but like, yeah, it was a good one. It went through like data collection wise. Big Pickle did really good job. Liked it.
Let me open this one up. I'm starting to think DeepSeek and Big Pickle might actually be the same model underneath. I'm not totally sure, but let's check the vibe. And yeah, the vibe almost matches. It's very close. It even grabbed the Stack Overflow information, just like Big Pickle did. The more I look at these two, the harder it gets to tell them apart. Honestly, I don't really want to have to differentiate between the output of these two because they're so similar. One kind of negates the other. They cancel out. Right now, the only real difference between them is so subtle that it's hard to even point to, which is interesting in itself. Two models, two different names, and yet nearly identical results.
Okay, Nemotron has given up. All right. Uh, Try again, let's say once. So Nemotron already is a turn off here, and not sure how much it went. Seems like Nemotron did not do anything at all until now. Not sure what it's trying to write, but let's open another model, whichever is free.
Yeah, Nemotron just did not work at all. So we've got Big Pickle, DeepSeek, and a failed Nemotron. Let me bring in something else to take that slot. DeepSeek and Big Pickle are both already done. Nemotron clearly doesn't want to run, but let me try all three of the other models that are available right here, while I find one that actually works, so I can slot a proper fourth contender into that empty spot. The replacement comes from the OpenCode lineup, and MiMo gets brought in here too. MiMo actually sounded really promising to me. It's a model I'd been wanting to test, and from what I'd seen of it elsewhere, it was quite good. So I'm genuinely curious to see how it handles this exact same brief that everyone else has been working from.
Yeah, oh yeah, it highlighted one of my work. Like I was number one in GitHub trending at that time, and it was even more than the Flutter repo itself. Uh, 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 yeah, it now, yeah, it even went to my, yeah, nice. It went one step further. Okay, MiMo. I like it, MiMo. I like it.
So Big Pickle managed to grab all of my information, which is good. At this point, all we really have left to judge these sites on is the looks. And now MiMo is done too, so let's go take a look at it. Now, the animation on this one is a little bit rich, and I mean that in a good way. It's got some real motion to it. Oh, and look at this, it actually built out a timeline as well, which is a genuinely nice touch. That's the kind of extra structure that none of the others bothered with, and it makes the whole thing feel more complete. And it surfaced my profile right up at the top, which is actually really good UX, because that's exactly the first thing I'd want a visitor to see when they land on the page. So if I'm rating this round, North Mini's site is the one I'd put right at the top. North Mini is the model that actually gave me a genuinely good looking site visually, and that's especially impressive given the constraints it had to work within and the information it had to go on. It took the brief, did the research, and turned it into something that actually looks designed rather than just generated. The others all produced something usable, but this one had that little bit of extra polish that made it stand out. So for the first round, that's my pick. North Mini is leading. Alright, now I want all of these sites to be better than they currently are. So let's go ahead and create another prompt to push them further. The goal of round 2 is to kill that AI looking, sloppy feel. I want a genuinely unique looking site with good fonts and real design character. And I'm thinking, maybe there's a skill, like a design skill from Claude, that can explain proper design patterns and design guidelines to the model. If I can feed it that kind of structured design knowledge, then it's not just guessing at what looks good. It's working from actual principles, and the output should feel a lot more intentional. I'm also adding a requirement specifically designed to test the model's ability to retrieve information from the internet. So not only does it have to build the site, it has to actually go out, fetch real information, and then tell me afterward exactly which commands it ran and where it pulled that information from. That gives me two things at once. I get a better researched site, and I get a clear window into whether the model is genuinely reaching out to the internet or just pretending that it did. And this time, very importantly, it should not be a single file anymore. I'm done with the one HTML file approach for this round. Now it should follow best practices. Proper structure, separate files, the way you'd actually build something for real. And then hand me back the finished site. So go out, use real internet resources, do the research properly, structure the project the right way, and then give me the result. This is where I start to see which models can actually handle a more serious, more realistic set of requirements. So let's see how they each do with this. Let's see how they handle the tougher brief. And from this round, this is where I'm going to pick the good model, the one that can actually understand the changes I'm asking for, genuinely go to the internet to get what it needs, and then deliver on all of it. This round is really the one that's going to separate the real contenders from the rest. Okay, now they're taking a bit of time. Big Pickle is almost there. Not quite done, but it's so close. DeepSeek, I think, has actually finished. Oh, and Big Pickle has now finished too. So they're all wrapping up at roughly the same time, which is interesting. The timing between these models is turning out to be really similar.
100 days of Flutter. Oh, this is also open source project. Okay, I realized, oh, this is the open source project. So okay, these are the things that these two found. How on this did I not know about this earlier? This is going to save many life. Okay, it did not find that. Overreacted IO was the inspiration for me. Okay, northern side, it's also done. Okay, segmentation fault for OpenCode itself. That's bad.
MiMo is still running, so let's go check these other sites first. North Mini is already done, so let me look at what it changed. Okay, so this text here is now different from before. You can see it updated the content. So there's at least some real change in this one compared to the previous round. Although honestly, there's barely any visual change in this one. Maybe it's the prompt, I don't really know. But not much actually moved here. Is there actually a meaningful difference? I can see this one line changed here, and the fonts look better now. Or do they? Or is it the exact same as before? Because if I genuinely cannot tell the difference between the old version and the new one, then for all practical purposes, it must be basically the same. And that's a bit of a problem because the whole point of this round was for it to make a real, noticeable improvement. I still don't fully know why, but I prefer the earlier version of this over the new one. There's a work profile section here, and these cards, I genuinely like the cards. The layout of them works for me, but the white font here is a bit much. It's a little too harsh against the background for my taste. So it's a mixed bag. Some parts I really like, and then one or two choices that pull it back down. So let me create a prompt, and I want it to explicitly use the design skill this time. No skipping it. I'm asking for a green neon theme, the kind of site that looks like it came straight out of a hacker movie. That very specific cinematic terminal green aesthetic. And I'm going to lean on sub-agents for this. I'll have it consult the design skill directly, so the styling is coming from real design knowledge rather than the model just winging it. The idea is if I'm precise about the theme and I force it to actually use the design guidance available to it, I should get something that feels intentional and distinctive instead of yet another safe generic looking page like the ones we've been getting. And in case you don't know what subagents are, it's basically like taking one agent and asking it to go off and do a specific task for you. You delegate that piece of the work out to it. Alright, so let's just go and paste this new prompt into each one of them, one by one. I think this one's basically the same. It added some vivid colors here, which is something, but other than that, I don't think it made much of a change at all. And in terms of speed, it was about the same as before too. One thing worth noting, I've asked a ton of questions across a lot of agents in DeepSeek, and not once did it stop me and say your quota is done. So for these free models, I'm genuinely impressed by how hard you can actually push them before hitting any kind of wall. That's a real point in their favor. I don't know, the answers they give are almost kind of similar to each other, and they finish in roughly the same amount of time too. So DeepSeek and Big Pickle, they really do keep behaving alike. Every test I throw at them, they end up landing in pretty much the same place. So this one here is from DeepSeek. Okay, and one thing I noticed right away, there's no animation on these dots. I would have absolutely loved it if there were some motion there, even something subtle, because that's exactly the kind of small detail that makes a page feel alive. Other than that though, it's clean. The layout holds together, the information's all there, it's presented neatly. It's a perfectly solid, competent page. It just doesn't have that extra spark of motion or personality that would push it from good into memorable. Safe, but it works.
Go to Big Pickle. Let's go to Big Pickle and test. What is it? How does it look? Let's brace our hands. Let's open it. Ah, okay. Nice. That was nice. That was a nice one. And you see these typing animation here as well. That's a good one. And I can see this matrix rain in the background as well. Not sure if it's recordable. It's like once we record it and there is some waste of details in video encoding process and upload to YouTube, so you may not see the matrix rain in here, but there is a matrix rain behind it and nothing puffs or does anything there. So it seems more of like terminal thing. Yeah, you see this animation? Oh, I love it. I love this animation. Haptic. Okay, this is good. Okay, I loved the open Big Pickle one.
Okay, North site is also done now. And here's the thing about North. It was the one with the best initial showing, the strongest first round. But as time has passed and we've gone through these later rounds, it's just not doing that well anymore. It kind of peaked early. The others have caught up and, in some cases, clearly pushed past it. So North went from being my front runner to slipping down the order, which is a little disappointing given how promising it looked at the very start.
Now site MiMo. Oh, this is the best one till now. The animation, you see, let's refresh again. This is the one. Yeah, this is the site. Yeah, I love it. And you know what? I love this one as well. It's literally presenting my journey in a cat command presentation. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, the glitch animation is really nice. The timeline almost fail. It doesn't matter. Nobody got it right that much, and they seem to be okay. Yes, but the thing that caught my eyes mostly is this animation, this terminal. I hope like these terminal icons were highlightable, but the initial presentation is dope in this case. I love it. This is amazing. Yeah, this is amazing.
So I think it's MiMo for me. It is MiMo. You know what? Let me just increase the width a little, give it some more room. Yeah, it's MiMo, and I like it the most by a clear margin. When I line all of them up, Big Pickle with its matrix rain, DeepSeek being solid and clean, North Mini that started strong, and MiMo here, it's MiMo that actually brings together the look, the motion, and that little bit of personality all in one place. So that's my winner. Now Big Pickle, by comparison, dives in a similar direction, but it doesn't display that little cat command in the terminal. The one I genuinely liked more in MiMo. That terminal detail, that tiny bit of interactive character, is exactly the kind of thing that tips it for me. So while Big Pickle is close, and that Matrix Rain is great, overall MiMo just has more of that character, more of those small touches that make it feel special. So between the Matrix Rain, this terminal right here, and all of these little animations, I'm going with MiMo on this one. That's my pick. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.